In this video, we will learn about trigonometric ratios and also about the reference angles. Here we have been asked to find cosecant theta from this figure. You can see here theta is given and this 90 degree, that's right angle. So we can know this is the hypotenuse, and this is the opposite, and this is the adjacent. Now the one which we are supposed to find is cosecant theta. Before we directly write in terms of hypotenuse or opposite, if you have memorized the sides, you might know it is hypotenuse by opposite. But the easier way is write reciprocal identity first. Cosecant is 1 by sine theta. Next, you know sine theta is opposite by hypotenuse, isn't it? So opposite divided by hypotenuse, but that comes up, so it will be hypotenuse up. So hypotenuse by opposite side. Now, how do we know the measure? First, let's look at the scale. Every two blocks over here is 1 unit. So this is 1, 2, there's 3 here, and so on. Even over here, it's 1, 2, and so on. So hypotenuse is required. We know this is 1 unit, and we have 2.5, 2.5 units. So we can directly write hypotenuse is 2.5 units. Now, another way is you can just find the coordinates over here. What is the coordinate? It is x is 1.5, comma, what is y value? It is 2. What is the coordinate over here? It is 4 and 2. Now we can use the distance formula, that is square root of x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square, and easily substitute it. You can consider this as x1, y1, x2, y2 and solve it as well. It's option. But since it's a straight line, I counted it out only when it's straight or vertical line. Yeah, you can see it's horizontally inclined on this line, isn't it? So that's why I just counted it. Now, but what about this opposite? Now, for this, you need to find it by distance formula. I'm sure you know this distance formula many times. You've used it before, but I'll tell you another way. Now, what is this line here? This is a straight line, isn't it? I know this is 2. What is this line? Sorry, this is not 2. That is 1 because 2 blocks are 1 unit. This is 0.5. Now, this is 90 degree here, and this will be the hypotenuse. So I can use the hypotenuse formula. It will be x squared plus y squared. I'm just writing it. It's a squared plus b squared. That's fine. Now to find the hypotenuse c squared, I need to find the horizontal x is 0.5 squared plus 1 squared. You can put this in the calculator and get the answer. C will be square root of 0.5 squared will be 0.25, and over here it will be 1. So this is 1.25 square root. Now this is divided by square root of 1.25 because that is the opposite side. Now if you put it in the calculator, 2.5 divided by root of 1.25, you will get the answer. I've just substituted this in the calculator. It's 2.5 divided by square root option is here, and it's 1.25, and the answer is root 5. So cosecant theta must be root 5. Let's look into the answer. Yes, that's the answer. Whichever method you do, this is fine. Now it's writing, isn't it? But whatever I have done over here is absolutely right. Now I've used hypotenuse, that's absolutely right, no problem. You have counted this and you have to write this formula and solve it. You should get full marks because as long as you find the cosecant theta from this coordinate, it's fine, no problem at all. So whichever is easy for you, just follow that. And here it's the same way. I will just walk through these problems. You need cosine, and cosine is given by adjacent by hypotenuse. Now here we need this line, the adjacent line. Can you see that? Now how can you find that? That is one way is this is 1 unit and this one over here is 2 units. So I can use the square root of 1 squared plus 2 squared, and this is how I can also find it. So this will be square root of 5. So that is adjacent, square root 5. And what was the hypotenuse? We had found out just a while ago it was 2.5. So this will be the answer over here. It's written out. That's the thing. Otherwise, you can use the distance formula and do it. It's up to you. Whichever you find it easy, just go with it. Again, similar problem, but it's cotangent this time. That is 1 by tangent, or it can be written as adjacent by opposite. See, adjacent by opposite is the formula. You need to just find out. It's the same figure, but in exam they might change. You might get two slanted portions, but you can easily use Pythagoras theorem, or you can use the distance formula, whichever is easy for you, and easily solve it up. Same thing over here. Secant is 1 by cos, and cos is adjacent by hypotenuse, which hypotenuse goes up. So that's the secant formula. Substitute and you'll get the answers. Now this one is interesting. There are many angles that share the same reference angle. Now before we start, first let's draw a quadrant. All the four quadrants, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I will tell you how exactly you can remember reference angles without memorizing anything. Now you need to understand reference angles is always from the x-axis. So this is the line, right? The angle from this axis. Now what is it? Over here it's theta. The reference angle is equal to the angle whatever is given in the first quadrant because it starts from here. So that's it. But what about the second quadrant? Now it's always from this axis, isn't it? So from year to year, what is the angle? So now imagine you have 120 over here. Okay, that'll be from year to year, right? 120, I'll just draw in dotted lines. Okay, but you need to find the reference angle with respect to this axis. So from year to year, what would happen? Total is 180 minus theta will give you this remaining angle, right? That is reference angle over here. So this is the reference angle. In the first case, yes, whatever is the angle, if it's 89 degrees, from here it's 89 itself. But here it's not like that. If it is say 120 degrees theta, it'll be 180 minus 120, that'll be 60 degrees reference angle. What about the third quadrant? The same concept from this axis, let's count. This is theta dash, that's the reference angle. But how do we count it? Now this much is 180 degree and the theta is from year to year. So the theta is the entire thing, but we don't want the full theta. We just want from year to year. We want to subtract the 180. So theta dash will be equal to the entire theta minus 180. That will be the reference angle from this axis, isn't it? The entire theta. Now imagine you have 220 degrees. So 220 will be over here full. But we don't want the 180. So when we subtract 180, we will get 40 degrees. That's from this part to this part. The same way you can do over year to year is the reference angle to the fourth quadrant. And what about this one? Now imagine your angle is say 320 degrees. From here it starts and goes until here. But you want from this axis. So do the entire circle 360 degrees minus theta. That will be the reference angle for these. So if you understand it's from the axis, then even if you forget the formula altogether, you can analyze it and get the formulas by yourselves. Once we understand this, then we can easily solve it up. Give three angles that have a reference angle of 60 degrees. They have told theta dash is 60 degrees, including at least one angle with a measure of greater than 360 degree. We'll come to this in a while. Now they have told the reference angles of 60 degree must be there. We need to find the angles, what will cause them. So all these formulas for the second quadrant, I'll use it now. Theta dash is equal to 180 minus theta, isn't it? You have to just find theta. That's it. Substitute theta dash. It's 60 equals 180 minus theta. Take theta to the other side. It'll be 180 minus 60. The answer is 120 degrees. Now for the third quadrant, let's do for all quadrant. They have just asked three angles. So you can do two quadrants and one more is 360. That is very easy. But let's do all four quadrants first. Now the first quadrant, it is 60 itself. Next one, over here we found 120. Now the third formula, let's write it. Theta dash is equal to theta minus 180 degrees. Now what is theta dash given? It's 60 is equal to theta minus 180. So take this to the other side. It will be 60 plus 180 is equal to theta. And you can easily solve it. 240 degrees is the answer. This is angle for the reference 60 degrees, having a reference angle 60. Even this one is having a reference angle of 60 degrees. Now the fourth quadrant, same thing. Theta dash is equal to 360 minus theta. We know it's 60 degrees is equal to 360 minus theta. Now we have to take this to the other side. Theta equals 360 minus 60. and theta is equal to 300 degrees. Now then, we have found all the quadrants, but they have told one must be greater than 360. If you do only these three, you won't get full marks because they want one greater than 360. That is very, very easy. 60 degrees is there, right? Just add 360 degrees. That will be 420 degrees. Now, 420 degrees will have a reference angle of 60 degree as well. These are coterminal, but yes, you will have the reference angle of 60 itself. Why? From here, you start 360 and then comes to 60 degrees, right? So, it will be theta dash is 60. So this is how we solve it. You can see the answers. Here they have not done all, but we have done all. Just substituting in the formula. That's it. So they have done only 3. We have done 4 just for you to understand. Okay, if they ask for. And now we have a real world problem. A tree is 15 and 1/3 feet tall and casts a shadow at right angle from the base of the tree. The length of the shadow depends on the angle at which the sunlight hits the tree. So now, depending on the sunlight hitting the tree, the shadow will be either more or less. Depending on the sunlight, right, the shadow really varies. So the same thing is happening here. Find the distance from the top of the tree to the end of the tree shadow. So this distance, that's the hypotenuse. I'll just write it out over here. When the sun is at the angle of 13 degrees, this is given as 13 degrees. The tree is 15.13, 1/3 is 333. Now I'll just write 15 1/3 itself for accuracy when I solve it. But here now, which angle connects the hypotenuse and adjacent? When I look at it, I can tell it's cos theta adjacent by hypotenuse. Now I know cos theta is 13. Adjacent is known, that is 15 1/3. Or you can write it as improper fraction, that's 15 times 3 plus 1, that will be 46 by 3. This is also fine. And divided by the hypotenuse is unknown. This is what we need to solve, right? We will take it to the other side. So the hypotenuse will be equal to 15 1/3 divided by cos 13. I will show you how we can directly put this in the calculator and solve. Let's use the fraction symbol here. Now there is 15 and 1/3. Now if you put again fraction symbol, no, it's not going to work. And even if you write 15 beside it, it's not going to work. What you need to do is, you need to press shift and this fraction symbol. Now you get mixed fraction. It's 15 1/3 divided by cosine 13 degrees. So it should be in degrees itself. It's 13 degrees. The answer is 15.73. That's the answer. You can see 15.7 feet. You can directly put this. Otherwise, you can also write this as here. Multiply the denominator over here 1/3, right? 3 times 15 is 45 plus 1 is 46 divided by 3. You will get the same answer. Or you can just write 15.33. You will again still get the same answer, but it will not be so accurate, I believe. Put many threes, yeah, it's enough. It's more than accurate. So that's how we easily solve it up. Now they have asked, how long is the tree shadow? This is not known, and theta is given as 58 degrees. So we know this height, that is the adjacent, and we know the opposite. So which connects opposite and adjacent? It's tan theta, tan theta. So tan theta is opposite by adjacent, and just solve it up. Same way what we did a while ago. And that's the end of this topic. Very simple one. Just remember the reference angles, and then from the coordinate, remember to how to get the distances, and then please remember all the trigonometric ratios. Then it will be a very easy one.